I'm a 3D artist, and for the past 3 months, I've been secretly developing a Minecraft mod with 15,000 lines of code worth of custom weapons, bosses, dimensions, and even got 4 legendary mod developers and YouTubers to judge my work from 1 to 10. My viewers have been asking me to do this for 3 years straight, and I'm gonna make sure they regret it. I've probably designed 100 custom bosses and weapons at this point, and I want to add them all to the game. Well, some of them. Now, I'm tempted to just toss them all into the overworld, causing endless chaos and destruction, but if I'm gonna impress these guys, I gotta come up with a good design here. My idea is basically to isolate each boss in its own dimension, which is created and deleted on the fly whenever you need to access it. Maybe you enter with a portal, maybe the portal can be any shape you want, maybe when you open it, there's a little... Maybe the portals could be 3-dimensional. Wait, no, I'm not coding that. That way, I have total control over what goes on in the dungeon without causing any conflicts in the rest of the game. I already made my own game. How hard can it be? The game's already made. I am the most ignorant person in the entire world. I tried building a few different dungeons and portals to go along with them, culminating in this big, beautiful parkour island thing with, cows that is not significantly too difficult to play, and it only took about 2 weeks of building with my friends before I realized I am far too lazy for this. By the time I finish building these by hand, I'm gonna be 200 versions too late, so I'm gonna need to bite the bullet and learn procedural generation. That way every dungeon will be randomized and I don't need to build all of them. This single decision made the project about 10 times more difficult, but when you see the end result, it is 100% worth it. Look, when you make a Minecraft mod, there's 2 main mod loaders to choose from. 3 main mod... Can you guys stop self-destructing for 5 seconds? I made these rift entities which teleport you into the dungeon when you touch them, gave it a placeholder texture, and slowly but surely managed to place a single room in an empty dimension entirely through code. We are 3,000 lines in now, and I wish I was joking. With dungeons like these, it's all about the variation. And well, this is currently the worst possible scenario for that, so the next step is to figure out how to add multiple rooms at once. I made these connection blocks which you can place anywhere you want the room to connect, and it will automatically match up to other rooms based on the size of the doorway. Next, it just picks a random room, finds a few valid connection points, calculates the direction and the offset, and places it in the world. Simple enough, right? I'm gonna commit brain not work anymore. But ultimately, once the system works, it is a sight to behold. I kept going, fixing problems and making test rooms until I was able to generate a single custom dungeon with up to 1,000 rooms, no problem. I don't know why I would ever need to do that, but if this doesn't impress the mod developers, I don't know what will. Now that this system exists, it's pretty easy to add on to it. All you do is build the room, export it, and write 1 line of code. The real work is just designing the rooms themselves. I can't believe Mojang didn't think of this. It was around this time in the project that I found out Mojang did in fact think of this. Oops, too late now. Now that we're pretty much caught up to vanilla dungeons, it's time to take it one step further. I made this material system where instead of placing the blocks directly, you can use these template blocks and replace them with a random selection later. Take this room for example. For the walls, let's use 70% netherrack, 20% soul sand, and 10% magma. And for the platforms, we can use 80% nether brick, 20% red nether brick. This way, the same layout could be used wherever you want. Make it sandstone, boom, desert dungeon. Make it cobblestone, make it prismarine, make it out of mushrooms, it doesn't matter. We're getting like 100 rooms per room now. These dungeons are gonna build themselves. I wonder what happens if you put every block in the dungeon material. Oh no, we're gonna have to use this, aren't we? At this point in the process, I've made probably 400 test worlds, which means I've had to look this pixelated cat PNG in the eyes while it generates my dungeon on about 400 separate occasions. To be clear, I don't have a problem with that, but if I'm going to be showing this to some of the most famous mod developers ever, I should probably come up with something more professional. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we finally did it. Circles in Minecraft. Incredible. Yeah, I made a circle renderer. You just tell it how many vertices you want, and it just, I don't want to relive what I just went through actually. I also wrote an entire custom shader which mimics the end portal, but it can be any color you want. Blue, yellow, pink, green, infrared. You can even do multiple colors depending on what the dungeon itself is about. You know what? Hold on a second while I make my own custom sound system so that the pitch and volume will change based on how far away the player is. Look at that. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. The first boss I'm adding is the Mutant Bog. It's this decrepit poisoned skeleton thing which uses a tree as a leg and a bow to shoot poison arrows with. So maybe the dungeon it lives in could be swamp themed, like it's inside of a tree or something, and the colors could be green and yellow. Plop the Mutant Bog in the last room, put a couple of spawners in there, and that just about does it. That's 1 boss down, only 57 more to go. It's a good proof of concept, but there's a couple of problems. Right now it's completely free to just waltz into a dungeon and get all the loot you want. I think for now the dungeons will cost XP levels to enter, and we can always add more methods later. I even added multiple types of XP. Currently there's overworld, nether, and end versions. They work pretty much the same way, but you get them from different sources. Endermen drop a lot more end XP, blazes drop the nether XP, you get the idea. Dungeons from each dimension use that type of XP to open. If I could find one, I've been looking for, is it on the roof? It's on the roof, isn't it? I'll fix that, don't worry. I think it's a cool visual to tie everything together, and we could even add more types later for stuff like the Aether or the Deep Dark or the Bumble Zone. They even have their own experience bars which render over the normal one, and there's even a hotkey so you can switch between them whenever you want. I could keep going for a while with this, but I have to stop messing around now because the first month is over and it's time to start ramping things up. Now the thing about Minecraft dungeons is that they tend to play out exactly the same way. Walk in, look around, break some spawners, grab some loot, pet a couple of skeletons with a sword, rinse and repeat until your 2-week Minecraft phase is over. It's still fun, but the reason it can't be more is because Minecraft structures have a fatal flaw. It's just blocks. You can't have waves of enemies, you can't have special music, puzzles are worthless because the solution is always pickaxe, and unfortunately there's not really a way around it. That's just how the game is. There's blocks, there's entities, it's not like the rooms are alive, but what if they were alive? I already set this up so that each room is its own separate object, just like an entity, so theoretically there's nothing stopping it from acting like one. If a player enters a room, we can fire off code depending on the room we're in. The player just checks the list of rooms in the chunk and tells the overlapping one to spawn 1,000 silverfish or subscribe to my YouTube channel or something. The only thing entities do that rooms do not is tick. Entities update themselves every 20th of a second, and that's how they cook items or explode. But if we tick the dungeon itself, the dungeon can tick the floors can tick the branches, and the branches can tick the rooms. It seems obvious, but that system by itself probably makes this the most flexible dungeon generator in Minecraft history. For month 2, I managed to free up 2 entire weeks, so that's 14 days to push this system to its limits. The most obvious one is a combat room. It seems like a normal room, but when the player enters, we can lock the doors behind them and start spawning waves of enemies in random locations. You just set up an enemy pool and it picks out however many you want. Zombies 10%, skeletons 10%, withers 0.1%, just to make sure players are living in constant fear. We can give enemies weapons, armor, potion effects. What happens if you give a creeper like level 10 speed? Oh yeah, we're keeping that. And once all the enemies are gone, the room says, yup, looks good, and unlocks all the doors again. Unless one of the enemies was an Enderman and teleported out, in which case you were locked in for all of eternity. I should probably fix that. Secret rooms. Once they're generated, they fill the opposite wall with hidden blocks, which you can change based on the material. We could do so much with this. What if it's just a whole other dungeon down there and you just missed it because you didn't look at the wall hard enough? Rest areas, gotta have those. I made this life liquid that gives you regen so you can cuddle up with the boys after a combat room and get yourself healed up. We can do parkour rooms, we can do puzzle rooms. Oh, but Daniel, couldn't players just break through if they don't want to do the combat? No. Shoot. Okay, so rooms now have destruction rules. Rule 1 is free for all. That means you can break and place as many blocks as you so please. Rule 2 is none. That means it's basically adventure mode and you can't place or break anything. But that's kind of lame. How am I supposed to fight stuff without pillaring up out of reach like a little bit? Oop. Okay, sure, but you can't place lava, you can't place TNT. It's barely even Minecraft anymore. And that's why I made Rule 3, Shell Destruction. It means you can break and place whatever you want, as long as it's not the outer ring of blocks. That way, we get maximum chaos without actually being able to break out. I guess we're going full roguelike now, so I started working on a shop room. The idea is you'd be able to spend XP levels to buy items that would help you later on. So to do that, I just need an offering template system, an entity, a renderer, probably some kind of cost pop-up. This was like eating nails. Like 100 of them. Minecraft has an item renderer built in, but I wanted to do more, so I made this text bubble pop up whenever you look at it. We can reuse this later when we need to talk to the items or something, I don't know. It shows you the cost amount next to the XP type you need to buy it, so you can have multiple different variations. Do not ever ask me how many lines of code that took. I made the entity itself snap to the nearest half block so you can put it on corners, and while I was at it, I made the rift an offering as well, so that takes care of the cost system. Even gave it this render scale property so you can make giant rifts if you want. Behold. Giga steak. Honestly, the offering itself is the complicated part. The shop room just looks through the offerings in the room and randomizes them based on a shop table. We can use the same item templates to put loot in all the chests, and with that, it's finally starting to come together. But it still felt like something was missing. Perks are a system you see in a lot of games. Binding of Isaac, Risk of Rain, Noita. You better not get me talking about Noita. They're basically unique upgrades that last the entire run, like more damage, explosion immunity, whatever this thing is. So what if our dungeons also had perks? You could do all kinds of stupid stupid stuff. Make XP orbs explode, turn you into a wolf, make arrows ricochet. There's so many possibilities. For now, I made some basic ones, just a simple damage boost for swords, axes, and bows. They can stack exponentially. That's, I don't see any problems with that. I even gave it this spinning rune background so you always know it's a perk, and it's already an offering so you can put it in the shop or do whatever you want with it. We could even have these free perk rooms as a reward after a fight or something. When there's only 3 perks, it doesn't really do much, but imagine if we had like, I don't know, how many does Isaac have? 700? Man, I'm too lazy for this job. It's a pretty fun structure to explore around, but there's not really any stakes. You can just keep dying and coming back, which means it's not really possible to fail. To fix that, I added lives, like Mario lives. It's even got the little life counter in the corner. You always start with 3 lives, but that's for each player. If you run out of lives, it kicks everyone out, deletes the rift, and says, lol, get good. And if you do manage to get all the way to the end, it does nothing right now. Here's a diamond, I guess. We could also have an extra life perk. That way it's not completely over for you if you die in the beginning, but this does bring up an interesting problem. You're probably taking more damage from your teammates than the enemies, and that is why we need difficulty scaling. I gave each room a base difficulty value, which increases exponentially with each additional branch. 1% chance the room has 1000x difficulty. So far, so good. Yeah, this is beatable. Very balanced. Good job, Daniel. And now the farther you go, enemies get more difficult, there's more of them, but the loot gets better at the same time. And to finish it off, the difficulty also multiplies by the number of people in the dungeon. If you walk in here with 30 people, I will be sending withers to your location. The shop items could scale, the perks could scale, the types of rooms could scale, but the real test is how this works on a server. Will the difficulty be balanced, or will it be completely busted? Yeah, I should probably fix that. We're using Hostinger for the server. When it comes to Minecraft hosting, there's a lot of options, but when it comes to getting your money's worth, Hostinger has some of the best value out there. They store everything on these state-of-the-art NVMe drives, so performance is great, lag isn't even a problem, and you can add whatever crazy mods you want. Let's say on a Tuesday afternoon, I'm thinking, I'd really like to put, what do we got? The KFC restaurant on my Minecraft server. All you gotta do is drop the mod in the mods folder and restart. Even I can do it.
You didn't add any mods, right?
Yeah, just the essentials.
Daniel, Garfield is not an essential mod.
Don't you ever disrespect Garfield like that. It's super easy to set up, takes about 5 minutes, and until April 30th, you can get a 65% discount on their most popular hosting plan for only $7 a month. Plus, you can get an additional 10% off using my link below, or by using code DanielKrafft at checkout. Thanks Hostinger for sponsoring. Let's get back to the video. If I'm gonna finish this project, I'm gonna need all 4 weeks of month 3, but I can't just stop posting videos. I already post like 2 times per year, which is why this time I came prepared. I put out a job posting to get as many video editors as I could get my hands on professionally. I do live in Idaho, so I'm probably not gonna get that many. 250 applicants for this? Oh, it must be dire out there. Do you have any idea how many wedding videographers I had to explain Minecraft to? I made an industry veteran cry when he learned that billions of people watch this stuff every month. I don't think you're supposed to do this, but I actually spoke with every single candidate. Some of them weren't really so easy to talk to. Hey, could you give some examples of your previous work? I don't understand the question. What do you mean you don't understand the question? But against all odds, I found 2 great editors who are not currently being held hostage in my house, and just like that, my schedule's looking pretty good. Even with 4 weeks open, I still needed all the help I could get, and thankfully, I knew just who to ask.
Daniel?
Hey, Skylar, we want to make a mod together?
How did you find my house?
Your line is...
God, I feel so awkward, dude. Wait, how did you find my house?
Don't worry about it, I'm coming. Skylar's a mod developer who's been judging my designs for like 3 years at this point, so if anyone knows the existential horror of modding Minecraft, it would be them. We spent the first few days getting the project set up, learning what a GitHub is. Why is it called a pull request? Aren't you pushing? Isn't it a push request?
No, that's not...
It's definitely a lot faster with another person, but it's just ridiculous how many little things you have to do that you don't expect. Saving and loading usually boils down to converting your object into text and back again. The only problem is we have so much stuff to save that it actually overflows. But it makes sense if you think about it. Minecraft itself never saves to a single file. That's ridiculous. They actually save each chunk as its own save file and only load it when they need it. So we did something similar where every dungeon, floor, branch, and room has its own save file, and it kind of reverse reconstructs it from there. Only a few days in, and we were able to solve one of the hardest problems we could think of. If only we had stopped right there. One of the main problems we had was speed. We're placing a lot of blocks, so you have to sit there and wait while the dungeon generates itself. Pretty annoying. I was able to speed it up earlier by making the rest of the world air instead of bedrock, but that makes it possible to break out of the dungeon and skip the whole thing. Not ideal, exactly. We ended up giving the rooms this bedrock shell that calculates based on the combined shape so it doesn't dig through other rooms, sometimes at least, and that seems to fix the problem for now, but it actually causes like 100 more. Even though it's impossible to break the shell, it's not impossible for something else to break them. You can set them on fire, you can blow them up with TNT, an Enderman can come pick it up, creepers exist, and even if we were to manually fix all of those things, which would take at least a week, if the player uses other mods that do break blocks, it makes it completely useless. So how are we supposed to protect these rooms then? What do we make the whole room out of bedrock? Kind of. Bedrock is basically made to be ungriefable. Obviously, there's ways around it, but you don't have to worry about it setting on fire or getting blown up, and most other mods also respect that. There's only one problem. This block is kind of ugly, but there is a way to make it work. You could make a bedrock mimic block with like 10,000 block states that can look like any block in the game, but that would be kind of messy, and that's exactly what we did. And now instead of protecting the blocks, we just replace them at the start with this new bedrock and replace them back when the combat is done. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a lot more stable than before. These days, dungeons are generating faster than they did when we were filling the entire world with bedrock, but I don't settle for pretty fast. I want this to be instantaneous. The server freezes for like 10 seconds whenever you start a dungeon. That would get annoying pretty fast, especially if, I don't know, we wanted to generate a bigger one, and this is when we came up with our most ambitious idea yet, asynchronous generation. Basically what that means is while the server keeps running like normal, the dungeon is still building itself in the background. This is probably the worst thing we could have done for our own sanity. There's a lot of things that become unstable when you use multiple threads, and one of them is placing blocks. Remember how we have to do that about 100,000 times? I will say it looks pretty awesome watching it build itself from scratch, and now it can just go on forever, at least in theory. Thankfully, it's not possible for the player to leave the game while this is happening. Oh wait, yes, they absolutely can, so now we have to save the dungeon and the future of the dungeon. Surely that won't cause any problems, but we didn't come this far just to give up now. So after a few days of work, if it generates itself into a corner, it will now physically unwrap itself and retry until it can generate successfully.
Oh, that's so cool.
But this works, dude. It totally works.
I don't even have the words to express how cool it felt watching it actually work for the first time, and to finally realize that this thing would never softlock itself again. Fingers crossed. With all the systems out of the way, it was finally time to start making dungeons. So with that, Skylar started working on an overworld dungeon, and I started working on the weapons. I've designed a lot of weapons over the years, but I wanted to start with my favorite weapon of all time, the meat hook. It's basically a mix of the crossbow and a grappling hook, and it is just as glorious as it sounds. The only problem is it was made in a different mod loader 3 years ago, so I had to go through and fix a grand total of 300 errors. But it works now, and that's what matters. It's pretty dangerous because there's a lot of times you think, oh, I can make that. No, you cannot, at least not every time. But when you do actually make it, it feels amazing. Not to mention if you use it with the elytra, congratulations, you just won the entire game. It's coded to maintain the centripetal force, so you can spin yourself around a tree and launch faster than the chunks can load. It is so addicting to use. I don't know how many hours I wasted just messing around with this thing. Next, I made the laser sword. This one barely works. The animations are busted, but basically the longer you hold right click, it'll charge this laser blast to be continuously stronger. Let's say you're holding this thing for, I don't know, 15 seconds. Wait for it. Yeah, I've completely given up on balance at this point. What else is there to say? Next, I ported the firework gun. You basically feed it a bunch of fireworks and it does this. Pretty self-explanatory. The cool part is it will actually use the fireworks you give it, no matter what crazy effects you have on it. Imagine you're trying to sleep and someone's dive bombing your house with this. Pretty annoying, right? Well, next I added the Among Us staff, which spawns this imposter entity. This was made 3 years ago, okay? I get a pass on this one. Their ambient sound is just the... So that gets old when you have 50 of them on screen at once. They don't really do anything besides slowly attacking hostile creatures in the area. So you can just summon an army of these things and there's no limits besides the annoyance you're willing to deal with. Now I just make shop versions for all of them and they're officially in the dungeon. Are they a bit unprofessional? Yes. But I think I have that programmer depression now where I've lost the ability to care and everything is now a joke. And on that note, Skylar, what do you got?
So this is the mega dungeon. I made 11 rooms initially. The first 5 were just variations of the basic cube concept with some small details added like stairs or sliding slabs to give it a little more depth. But just having the cubes and hallways wasn't enough, so I made a really tall spiral staircase room with slime blocks at the bottom so players could jump down. In the same vein, I made a little stairway room with barrels underneath it like a cellar, and then I made my favorite room, a sort of safe room with furnaces and various crafting blocks and carpeted floors to make this room feel like someone came before the player and tried to survive here.
This is awesome, dude. My favorite is probably the staircase. Those slime blocks are gonna mess people up. Love that. As far as dungeons go, I'd probably give this a 7 out of 10. It definitely has more depth than regular dungeons, but I think the systems could be exploited further.
Let's do it.
For starters, we can put a shop and a free perk in between each layer so players can chill for a bit. I even made each branch end in this downward staircase so it's obvious which way is forward if you ever backtrack or respawn. For the music, I'm underscoring the whole thing with this dark cave humming. Then when you step in the first room, we bring in the strings, hit them with that mysterious undertone. Then once combat starts, we bring in these funky drums while you get pelted with aimbot skeletons. Once you find the shop area, it just plays this jazz piano to let you know it's a safe area until you walk into the staircase, cut the music, enter the next area, rinse and repeat. 2 branches later, you're probably thinking, when is this gonna end? How many more staircases am I going down? And then you get to the trial chamber. Now you're in this massive hallway and Moonlight Sonata starts playing the first movement in the background. One of the doors has this composite loot room so you can gear up, and at the very end of the hallway, there's a combat room. I wonder what's in here. And that's when we spawn the Breeze Golem. Boom, third movement starts playing. Trial chambers are where breezes live, so this is basically just a big buff breeze. Breeze Golem kicks you around a little bit, sets a few things on fire, kill the Breeze Golem, door opens up in the back. And that's where you find a bunch of custom weapons and the exit to the dungeon. Now this is starting to look nicer than the vanilla dungeon. We ran through a couple of playtests just to make sure it was working, and well, no, it was not. We couldn't go a single dungeon without something inexplicable happening. Rooms randomly deleting themselves, branches deciding to dig through other rooms, dead rooms that look real but aren't, blocks that don't exist but do. Every single issue kept popping back up, just less frequently, and the worst part is there's no errors, so we couldn't really tell what the problem was. We wasted a whole week trying to fix this stuff, but in the end, we ran into a bad dilemma. Remember how we used multi-threading to make the dungeon generate itself in the background so the server wouldn't freeze? Yeah, well, you're not really supposed to do that, at least not how we did it. We don't have any more time to waste on this, so we were faced with 2 options. Fast dungeon, but 10% chance it dies, or slow dungeon, but it works every time. Neither of these are good options, but maybe there's a secret third option. I wrote up a custom profiler which basically tracks which parts of the code take the most amount of time. Currently, it takes 76,000 milliseconds. That's kind of a lot. With that, I painstakingly tracked down every single problem area and rewrote it. It wasn't easy, but it slowly started to get faster. 25,000, 22,000. Why are we calculating bounding boxes 100,000 times? 18,000, 15,000. And in the end, it's still not perfect, but I was finally able to get this. All right, fingers crossed. 2 seconds! 2 seconds. Okay, we can work with that. Oh, I'm so done with this. It's not the best solution, and I do want to figure out the async later. There's no way it's impossible, but for now, our time was coming to a close. Before the experts take a look at this, I wanted to make one final dungeon to really showcase what the system's capable of. But we don't have a lot of time, so I had to lock in. My idea is a nether dungeon called the Piglin Factory, which has 4 separate zones. A network of caves, which lead to some kind of lava sewer, which leads to a factory, which finally leads to the boss fight. Now, the cool part about this dungeon is that we do not have time to make all that. So I called a bunch of my friends and we all started building as many rooms as we possibly could. I started working on the cave branch. I wanted it to feel like an actual cave, so I made the rooms as disorienting as possible. Some of them loop around on themselves, some of them connect on the ceiling, and most of them are extremely claustrophobic. There's also soul sand and lava everywhere, just so it's that much more annoying. We start with this distant wind howling, walk into the first room, bring in that reverb, synth, bass, whatever it is, supposed to feel off-putting, empty, hostile. Then you enter combat and we kick in the drums with these strings in the background. Overall, the caves are a bit too confusing even for my taste, but it honestly blows my mind just how much it really doesn't feel like pre-made rooms. Eventually, you break into this big lava river with 3 big pipes dumping into it. One of them has a really good chest, one of them has a free perk, and the other one is where things get interesting. This is the lava sewer. It's basically a big network of pipes and mechanical rooms. We tried putting combat rooms in the pipes, but that was such a bad idea that we had to scrap it entirely. There's some areas where you have to actually climb up flowing lava or climb into a broken one. It's not as annoying as the caves, but it's certainly up there. And finally, when you make it to the end of the pipes, you find this room. All the pipes flow here. There's a big gate at the back, and we start playing the instruments for the next area. This is the Piglin Factory. The editors built most of these rooms. It's this big sprawling maze of blackstone and random machines. If you look close enough, it seems like they're building something. They've got a wither with dragon heads, big pile of bones. Hold up, you guys want to explain what they were doing with this boat and piston?
Experiments.
Got it. There's even a set of rail network rooms that only connect to themselves, so you can find these long railways going through these lava pipes. The difficulty scale is pretty high at this point, so you can find entire ghasts just chilling in these rooms. Some of these parkour rooms are downright insidious, especially if it ends up being a dead end afterward. Some of the chests are trapped. There's a small chance to find this room which has netherite in it, but if you survive all the way to the end, cut the music, all you get to hear is something making these horrific noises. Next door, you'll find this room built around this central pillar. Cue the bass. I wonder what this does. And if you look closely enough, you'll notice this doorway with 3 locks on it. This pillar room branches into 3 different factory areas, which all have a free perk and a big combat room at the end. When you beat the combat, it'll spawn a key, which makes this shimmering noise and gets highlighted with this spiky outline so you can't miss it. And if you can make it through all 3 branches, break all 3 locks, the doorway opens to the final staircase of the dungeon. All of it, all 15,000 lines of code, all 100 or so rooms have led up to this moment. Wait, did I forget to build the rest of the staircase? For the final room, I wanted to push the system to its limits, so I built this massive 100 block wide cave with these fortress ramparts on top, sitting above a lava ocean. I've designed a lot of bosses on my channel, but the first one I ever made was the Nether Dragon. The amount of work I put into this is literally nothing. It's a dragon with 3 heads and a lava texture. Amazing. This is what the factory has been building, and now it's the only thing standing in between you and the end of the dungeon. The Nether Dragon has 3 attack phases. Circle, which we yoinked from the Phantom, where the dragon flies around looking for a good angle. Swoop, which we yoinked from the Phantom, where the dragon dive bombs players, dealing damage and knockback. And Fireball, which was that the ghast? Probably. Give it a bunch of health, plop it in the arena, crank the music up, and that's the final boss of the Piglin factory. Link them together, and now you can play both one after the other, keep the perks, keep the lives, all the way to the end. And when you beat the Nether Dragon, it spawns the exit rift, winning the dungeon, and rewarding the player with nothing? I guess all the stuff you picked up? We'll work on it. Give me some ideas. Even if it's not perfect, I still want to impress the developers, so for now, I made this stat display using a custom animated screen system I made, which shows you the name of the dungeon, your time, deaths, your score, and there's even a target score so you can see how good or bad you did. If you get perfect on everything, the title changes color, and if you played with multiple people, it'll swipe over to this bar chart of each person's score from worst to best. The screen itself is 400 lines of code, not to mention the fact that I had to rewrite Minecraft's font renderer to get it to work. That's not a joke, I am manually drawing the text. Even despite that, this is not even close to done. There's barely any sounds, the animations are stiff, I wanted rounded corners for these things, but as a wise person once told me, "Rip, that sucks, at least it kinda works." With that, it was time for the mod developers to judge our work, and for me to give my viewers the mod they've been asking for since I started making videos. It was a fun time, but Skylar and I said our goodbyes and got ready to call it quits. This was the hardest project I've ever done by far, but it taught me a ridiculous amount of skills, introduced me to new people, and reminded me why I even make these videos in the first place. If you want to playtest the mod yourself, I'm giving it to anyone active on the Discord. That might be a bad idea. Young, explain yourself.
Hey, what's up? My name is Young. I'm a professional Minecraft modder.
Hi, I'm Mimic. I made a little dungeon mod called Mind Cells and a few more.
Deros, I do mobs too.
He also
yeah.
has a small YouTube channel. Please go subscribe.
Hey guys, Anfidum here. I'm that guy who won the survival games that one time, and I play an MCC, so I have Sands of Time experience. Therefore, I'm a dungeon master, and I'm going to judge this, and I'm going to love it.
So the first thing we need you to do, walk around until you hear an ominous whispering.
Oh, okay.
Am I listening for a vibe?
Go until you feel it in your soul.
Wait, I'm hearing something. Oh, the vibe is heavy. Oh, the vibe is sad. Oh, the vibe is confusing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, whoa, what is that?
This is kind of trippy, I'm not going to lie. Does it...
Oh, this is scary. Daniel, what have you done? Ah!
Welcome to the dungeon.
I'd be careful of traps. Like, I would imagine if it's a dungeon, you have to expect that anything may kill you at any turn.
Yeah, I may kill you.
Oh, you will die.
Okay, everyone notice? Up at the top left, what do you see?
Totems of Undying saying how many lives collectively we have?
Yes,
That is
anyone who
correct.
dies takes away from our collective total. So please don't mulch our team.
Yeah, Terrace.
I'm just here cooking steak.
All right, we got some lantern parkour for you right away.
Ow.
Nailed it.
No, it's fine.
It's possible to get stuck in there
Okay.
on your own.
So did he just go in, or?
Yep, it's gonna act. Yep, have
Oh,
fun.
okay.
Oh my god! No!
Where are you guys?
Got this. Oh.
Terrace!
I
What did
didn't
I
got it!
say?
I got something else. It wasn't that though.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, God.
Oh.
Blaze over here.
Dude, that creeper just annihilated all of us.
If you look to your left, you'll notice this room with the chest on it. Those are perks.
Okay,
Oh, that's
I have some
cool.
pearls. We should probably Should probably divide these among us. Among us.
Among Us? Oh, we're gonna be talking about that
Oh.
later. Terrace is running ahead, stealing all the loot, so we should probably get going.
Terrace!
This music's
I always with
amazing.
this guy, man.
You can go pick that up. I'm not grabbing your trash.
Oh, it's Terrace.
No, no. I said I'm not grabbing your trash.
It's Terrace. It's a common mistake, but it's Terrace. Now,
Is
can I
it
get
a,
it
is
right
it
next
a
time?
common mistake? Really? Do people call you
It's-
trash all the time, huh?
Everybody sneak in.
Oh, sneak in. Okay. So what happens if we do?
Oh, we have to sneak in.
Don't.
Oh, because we're making noise. I get it.
The sneak in was just for dramatic effect. You don't need to do that.
This music though, straight up makes this feel like a finale, like I'm at the end of my life or something.
Oh, I found the loot room. Everybody come over here.
Alright.
Hey, over here on the side.
I have to get up.
Oh, okay. I mean, you could place a block, but
You haven't been placing blocks this entire time,
It's
man.
an immersion thing. To me that's illegal on custom map.
I'm at the bottom. Wait, if I drink invisibility, you can't see me. Maybe
Where'd
they
you go?
can't see me.
Do not,
Oh.
please come back, please.
No, it's
Oh.
okay. It's just
All right.
You.
I was too late.
Oh, he activated.
I was too late. Oh. Wait, I'm invisible. It shouldn't see me. It shouldn't
Hey,
see me.
there's a window
wait.
up there.
There's a hole in the
See
wall.
that?
What?
Wait.
What is that? What is
There's
that?
one in there.
Oh, yeah, now you're good in there, bro. Now you got it.
I don't want. Whoa! I am low.
Oh god. Ow. I am hurt.
Oh,
Yeah.
you bully him. Hurry.
My real zone.
He's gonna punch us.
Okay, come on. Just a little bit. Everybody gang up on him. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yo,
Okay.
the loot room. I'm first in. Let's go. Dude, it's a BFG.
look
Freaking
at, we have enough.
gun.
Everybody can take one. Everybody can take
Yo.
one.
I'm taking this one.
I took the laser sword.
Imposter staff. Oh, we were at that part.
Where did everyone go?
I'm taking the split path.
Hello, Terrace.
Oh, hi.
Mimic, I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe we should go back. I'm gonna check this real quick because where this lava thing is coming down here, there's like actually another way up. Like it's like like we went down like a split for. Never mind, it's a dead end.
Okay, we found the pipes.
So
that's
the
brutal.
pipe room is also dead end. Or we go into the pipes.
Yes. Good eye. You caught on quick.
There's a chest.
I so want to push you in.
Resist the urge. Daniel, where are you?
Bro, I don't even know, dude.
This is just like a circle.
Whoa, what did you find, Mimic?
Oh, I see. There's a combat room.
When we for real?
Right. We gotta be
Yeah.
careful.
I died immediately.
Oh god.
Oh my.
Well,
I see
Immediately.
Vexes. Oh man, this is bad. Dude, I think this
Two
is the end.
lives.
I think we're gonna lose
about to-
here.
Oh, I died. And I spawned in lava!
No.
lost.
Bye.
And
And
the
then
circuit
just-
switch.
So,
Let's try that again.
Oh, I see. Where do we get these dungeon locks from? I assume from around the dungeon. Dude, the wood is not
The
helping.
wood is just gonna
The wood is not
Exactly.
helping.
it's the only thing I have.
Oh, the little mogus.
Oh, my boys, no.
Careful with
Actually.
how close you get. It will suck you in if you.
Yo,
Stop! No! Stop! No!
I'm coming, Skylar.
Don't say that.
I'm ready as soon as the door
Yeah.
opens.
Who's got the keys?
We
There
ready?
you go, got one.
Let's do this.
I'm ready.
Oh God. No, I'm gonna die.
Oh no! I'm in lava.
Oh my god.
I have pearls.
I'm hiding in the corner, and I've got a laser sword charging.
You're
We have
still in
one
there.
life left.
Oh, please charge! Please charge! Oh, it,
This
oh
never crashes
no!
every
Laser
time.
sword and it killed us.
The exploration aspect of it, because there's so many like little rooms, it gives reason for us to split up and whatnot. You know, whenever someone finds something, you gotta coordinate. So the coordination aspect of it is really nice. Maybe more things like finding those dungeon keys. I feel like there's more opportunities for mechanics like that. I liked it. Potential is like a solid 9 out of 10. I think right now it's probably like kind of 6.5 out of 10. You know, it's a solid enough experience so far. I had fun.
From the perspective of a person who made a dungeon system, this was absolutely great. The seamlessness of the whole thing, it was amazing in my opinion. I loved how the nether generation really seemed like a naturally generated cave. I'm a sucker for like custom content, so I would love to see maybe some custom decorative blocks, maybe some more thematic mobs. But overall, this was a really great experience. I would also think it's a solid 7 out of 10 right now. This has potential to become a 10 out of 10 mod, in my opinion, definitely.
It's kind of hard to judge in the current form because it does feel like a beta product still with the the crashes and whatnot. I would just give it like a 6 right now. But man, there is a lot to like here. This has crazy potential. As someone who has spent years doing world gen in Minecraft, like the dungeon generation system that you ended up coming up with was really, really good. My favorite thing would be the music system. It added so much to the immersion. Right now, I would give it a 6, mainly because of the crash. And I think if you tap into that, and again, just a layer of like visual and audio polish on some parts of the project, it's easily a 9 or 10. This is your first mod, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
With that, I was arguably able to impress the developers. It wasn't perfect, but making so many friends—
What is that? On the lava!
and then losing them immediately afterward made it all worthwhile. This project was pure suffering, but this isn't over until it's 10s every single time. See ya.